What's up, guys? Are we live? We are live. Okay. Give me a moment. Let me, Okay. Okay. Okay, 1 second, guys. Actually, give me a moment. I have so many tabs open right now. I desperately need to clean this up some. So let's do that. Give me a moment. I can close that. I see volleyball, somebody da 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 ho ho ho. Okay. Harper. Harper. Place. Place. Good girl. I don't want her destroying stuff while I'm not paying attention. All right, let's go ahead and kick off the fun. I got my music going. Let me turn this music down just a little bit. Make sure the stream can't hear it. You're fine. Lay down, place. Come on, we just played for 3 hours. Place. Thank you. Puppies, man. Dude, the energy is endless. Puppies and toddlers. What was I thinking? No, they're great. I'm kidding. All right, we'll look at NU here. Already, just at a glance here, this looks like potential ABC completed. Coming to its 50 and it's 236. I actually really like this one. This is a good share. Set the 2 and the 50. The 2-day looks good. it's at a huge key level here. $13.74 would be the trend line I'd watch here. You've got like a really well-defined like parallel channel that it's breaking out of now as well, along with good momentum factors here. I like this one a lot. Looks like it's breaking out. Daily looks strong but not overbought. 2-day about to flip. Weekly's improving. 3 weeks or so, this thing might be back at the highs. And it's actually breaking out of this trend here. Yeah. Major support behind it. 1244 stop. I like it. The setup. I love it. I like it. Take two. I mean, take two is breaking out, man. I mean, do you even got to say anything else for a setup like this? I'm pretty sure the weekly is giving confirmation, the 2 days giving confirmation, the daily is giving confirmation. I mean, this thing just looks straight up good. The only thing I think that's a little pitiful about this one is the way the premiums are moving. The premiums have been pretty ass. And this price action's been tough to weather. Despite that, I wonder if the monthly flipped here. This thing's gonna have to break out. Still hasn't turned. A lot of names like that, honestly. Yeah, if the market gets weak, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing crept up a little bit more. And then, you know, did the classic like back test to breakout and then moon. You know, this double top is what you got to watch out for. Like, so badly got to watch out for, because this deal is looking a little cooked. I don't know. That really looks good. It's a really solid long idea off that one, by the way. Really, really strong day trade actually on Friday. Or I guess that would have been Thursday. Yeah, overall, this thing looks great. I mean, I wouldn't overthink it. If you're long, stay long. 240s, your get the fuck out range. Super simple. I like that one. I shared it in the Discord as well. I'm just using one of my scanners to see who's the best performers in the after hours to look at, to kind of define my parameters here. My gosh. I don't know about this week, guys. Look at this. The futures. The relative weakness in NQ is there. I mean, look at this thing. Just kind of like it's set a well-defined. What was resistance became support. Got a continuation. Tested support. Just blew through it. And then SPY is holding the relative strength, but also broke a trend line on the futures. It's just not at all what you want to see, man. We'll see how the morning looks tomorrow, but there were some signs of concern last week, and I think even I might get caught underestimating that weakness. I've already posted this in the Discord, but some things I'll just cover on live stream real quick. Oracle testing massive support here. It's a huge bid moment for me. MU also doing the same thing. MU coming back to its bullish EMA. This is either the stop that completes the ABC to the down ABC equals 1, takes you right to that 946. We came in at a few points of it. I'm sorry, 943. So we came within 6 points of that. So I went ahead and tried to dip buy on this. The future is this up. Let's see if we get a continuation. If we get a further capitulation, this is the major support I'm watching to see if we can get a bounce off this. If we look at names like Irene and stuff, this one's looking real tough, right? I mean, just massive capitulation. X is just going nuts. Mad at management. So, unfortunately, when you have a name that has a retail cloud, heavy retail cloud, it just there's a part of this that could end up looking like Oklo, quite honestly, with how that top is, big candle up, then massive exhaustion to the downside, blew right through support. Didn't even try to hover at it, just blew right through it. It's not really what you want to see, but I do think that this is also a name where I kind of got to try a dip buy here. Big reason just being it's so oversold. So I would be looking for something, maybe even something like this, if there is going to be a continuation back to the downside. But there's potential that this is just a fake out. That was just a FOMO crowd, and we're coming back up to test the previous all-time high. There is potential there. I mean, especially when we look at the bearish confluence here, like it doesn't typically get any more bearish than this. So it could be finding a bottom here soon, very soon. We look at something like NVIDIA here. NVIDIA looks like it cleared under and then held that major moving average, right? Tesla has only really tested this once. This is 2025. It's had some minor visits below it. But so usually off this level is a good buy the dip moment where you at least get some sort of bounce off of it, even if it is going to drift lower. The 1 day, 2 day, 1 day is trying to turn, 2 days still bearish, and weekly still turning over. So the weekly is really what's concerning here. But they just released their open source model, which makes them a full stack provider when it comes to AI. They're providing the hardware, and now they also are building towards one of the leading open source AI models. Now giving some of their biggest clients a run for their money. I mean, directly competing with Anthropic and OpenAI is probably going to cause some fear within the market. So the big thing I'd watch here is just this clear trend line. I mean, it hasn't quite formed it yet, but it looks like it's forming some sort of wedge. This wedge is similar to what we see on QQQ, right? This is the big wedge to break. If you could break to the upside on this, all right, we're probably looking for an explosive move, maybe even all the way to 760 or 780 before the next pullback, probably in September or so. Or we're probably going to see, if we break through the low of this, then we have a very different conversation, and we're probably looking for a full dump down here, I would expect it to be something like a deep, like maybe 10%, maybe 15%. I think for SPY, actually, our support sits at like, let's see here. For where the SPY closed, 8%. Even a double bottom takes us down 15%. But I'm kind of wondering if we're actually... I don't know, man. My gut says if we puke here, we're more... Get out of here. What's this thing doing? We're inbound to set something up like this. You know? That then sets up this, like... type of megaphone, right? Like, that's what I'm looking for. Honestly, if we puke here, a lower low here, megaphone, get everyone really, really bared up and just rip it up. The narrative is there. The narrative is set, right? The whole narrative right now is AI's not working. Anthropic, everyone's leaving Anthropic because they're stealing data from all the companies and then becoming competition with them. So there's a mass flee from the frontier models to try to open source. But the frontier models are still ahead of open source. And even if people go to open source, they still need the data centers. They still need all the chips. You know, if we actually look at growth in token usage, if we look at demand for the GPUs, they're still rising higher. You know, Blackwell's went up like another 3%. They're not dropping. That's exactly what MU and SNDK also reported. So, yeah, I would still be looking for... by the way, this tastes so good. Can you guys see that? It's a liquid death. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's strawberry tear. It's delicious. You know what I do like to see though is how strong like names like Oracle are in the overnight. I would love to see those hold in the after hours. All right, let's look at some other names because one of the big outperformers right now is HIMS. And this still looks really great coming to this week. The one thing that is a little spooky is we do have like this exhaustion over that prior high, but a back test there is actually just kind of beautiful. All right. We actually really like the back test at this level. So let's see if we can catch a further extension to the upside. And then what I'm really looking for here is for this monthly to turn. Remember that July is our big catalyst for this one. So there even is a capitulation on this name. It might be by the dip. It'd probably be a by the dip moment into the catalyst. If it continues to rally up to the July catalyst, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull off some exposure when we're coming up to a, an event that is either a yes or no, right? I don't really like those. When there's only two options for outcomes. Sorry, I'm looking here for more tickers. Looks like that's all they got from the community, from the Discord community. Everyone's feeling pretty confident, I guess, coming into this week. So let's just go hunting through some of the more speculative tech. And then I want to go through some retail names as well. Man, I mean, the weekly's firing on IBM and the daily's strong. Is this setting up some cup and handle? This looks like the kind of cup and handle setup where you get a third one. I actually really like this key level here. Yeah, because it's a major support looking back, too. Like a major support, then it turned into huge resistance. This 291 is big. I want to upload this chart as is to the Discord. I'm interrupting myself to look at VKTX. This thing made me so patient last week, but it's just not getting the breakout. Looks fine. Looks fine. Yeah, why is there no... I'll have to remove all the drawings off of here. It's so annoying. I wish there was an eraser thing on TradingView. The text was stuff was from a class. I do behind the scenes classes regularly for staff members. This thing actually still has like the crazy strong confluence. I probably ride this one all the way through earnings, quite honestly. It still looks so good to me. Huge trend line break. Monthly looks like bottomed here. Your real test comes at this EMA convergence, which by the time we get up there probably becomes like 661 right here as this continues to develop over the next month. So we'll call that target. Honestly, you come over to... Comes right to that 64. Comes right to that 64. And then you're probably looking for... Why do I keep hitting that? Because it's pissing me off. Still love that one. Let's go to INQ real quick. No thanks, man. This looks like ass. This could be the breakout for Palantir. You gotta watch this level like a hawk. Looks like I have double alerts set here. Yeah, I like the way this one looks into next week. Hood had that major exhaustion that came and tested this level. So, first thing I want to look at is what kind of retracement of that? Oh God, get over that. It's a little extended. I think the major low is for sure, and honestly, I think we're headed to new highs from here. We might have some sort of back test. So let's mark up these areas of confluence. That one's already marked. So really, that's just where the confluence is. At that 150. 150 is my end of year target, actually. So maybe you come back test 106. Maybe it turns out to be this 105. It's a big area of resistance. I like that idea. Maybe you get that back test. You might instead push through this level one more time, get an exhaustion into 124, and then back test like 112. Yep. Yeah. Regardless, that's like more like day to day price action. Regardless, I think swings still look really good here. Daily's about to flip for coin. This is kind of like how SPY looks, man. Like, this is about to fire, but this just cracked over. So you're looking for this thing to reverse right back through 180, basically. Because if you could do it... Oh, I'm hearing fireworks. I'm like, what the hell was that noise? All right, Braveheart. That's right. There's people who are still having fun and not working like me. Hopefully, if anyone's watching this live stream, they're out having fun too. Marlo said a correction would make sense. 10% drawdown and then rally through the end of the year. Yeah, yeah. I think so too. I wouldn't be surprised if what ends up happening is like these major supports that I'm seeing kind of across the board get like a really wicked like gap down just to really fist retail, and then smart money comes and buys it. This is just a really, really freaking nice cup and handle on, like right here. I'm curious, is this on Bitcoin? Not at all. This is. Do you guys see this? Look how clean that cup and handle is. I'm sorry, inverted head and shoulders. Did I just say? It's kind of both because you got the cup here and then. But you see that? Shoulder, head, shoulder. Very defined key level. I actually hate to see that because that's the short ETF, by the way. That's not bullish. I don't know. Just looking at that short ETF. Maybe this move on Bitcoin is not a real move. I don't know, dude. This thing's crazy oversold. If we could even just get a 38, I know I made like really good money on iBit last week, and I'm really just looking to scalp that thing off the bottom. Like, then take my profits, and then maybe get active when we get over 67 again. I looked at this earlier, but I'll just mention it because people were talking about this in the Discord. This is just another name where it's like, yeah. Like, even if you're bearish, even if you're a perma bear, if you're a good faith actor, you have to admit that this is a very appealing buy. Extremely appealing buy. And if it breaks and then confirms the breakdown, you cut it. But the risk reward here is so appealing. Never broken this support here. A third test here and then a rally out of the hole is such a classic setup. So like that's even like last week into the weakness on the market, I was just going on a buying spree. And maybe you get burned on it and it doesn't pan out. I feel like there is definitely where the bears are very loud right now. So I think even if you are going to get that capitulation, maybe we see a bounce out of the hole. I don't know. I say that, but even looking at the way futures is panning out here, like, my gosh, it's ugly, right? That's pretty ugly. It looks like it might open near the lows. But we'll see. You know, you got a whole 11 hours until the open. But, yeah, I feel like even if this doesn't work out, it's just one of those, like, close your eyes, buy. If it breaks, so be it. It's just a rep. For me, at least for me. For me, that's a rep you try. If it doesn't work, fine. But, what? 8 out of 10 times, 1 out of 5 times, that probably works. Or 4 out of 5 times, that probably works great. Let's look at Meta, which caused the big rally. This looks like a full, like, fake breakout that's going to roll right back over. The weekly, so, like, the weekly is turning, but barcoding like this on momentum structures, is to me, is awful. The same with the 2-day. Like, what a mess, man. What trash. I wouldn't touch this thing. We can take a look at Amazon. A thought just entered my head because I'm pretty sure NU is banking, right? MU's a regional bank, and it looks so good. And I know KRE's also had that breakout. And this is regional banks are usually front run equities. So I kind of wonder if what's happening is the sell off in before next earnings cycle. Totally possible. Like, especially now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because you even flipped the monthly here. I'm thinking a lot of stock charts are going to look like this. Like, the monthlies aren't going to roll over and they're going to turn. Yeah, SPY turn. Q's turned. But I think some names like Microsoft haven't. Yeah, Microsoft's bearish. This is another name where if you break, what is this, 350? What are you going to come to? 228? 288? I might spend the rest of the cash in my long term buying this if we get to 288. It's another one of those things where you might be wrong and you might park money there for 6 months and then feel like an idiot. But like, these companies have weathered multiple like technological revolutions and done amazing. And especially a company like Microsoft, who's invested in like every AI model, who's going to benefit massively from these IPOs. Super hard to bet against them, man. It's so hard, even if it's not obvious how they become a massive winner from all this. It's just like they soak up all the talent and everything. Looks like Google did a nice like fib back test here that looks interesting coming into the week. Looks like it almost already did the back test. This is spooky though. You know, this is a classic evening star formation on the monthly, which is really terrifying. I kind of wonder what the 1 week looks like here. Because like, I mean, just consider if I saw this on futures, if this was like on a 1 minute chart, I'd be shorting the shit out of it. Without a doubt, would be shorting the shit out of it all day. Evening star like that. Weekly's degrading. Weekly's degrading, but they're trying to catch a bounce here. Does it look awful? Looks like this is your trend line to break though. Like if you want to play this, you're looking for that. Very clearly defined. Right now it's in a expanding like channel. So you might get one more dump. You're either gonna get a breakout or you're gonna get one more dump down and then a breakout probably. I might even set an alert here. Let's look at Apple with the announcement of the foldable phones. One of our traders was actually super heavy on this, and he got super heavy into that drop. And I was very mid about it. And I was like, I don't know. And he made an absolute freaking killing. So good on him. Absolute killing. Honestly, the double top here is what you're looking for to catch a move through that previous high. I noticed that the 1 day and the 2 day are turning here nicely. So if you get good follow through this upcoming week, this could get a really nice move, especially from the knee-jerk reaction from boomers. Like if market shows some weakness early on in the week, that money could consolidate to Apple really well, and we'll be looking for the double top. I'm actually going to set an alert, I think, over the previous week's high. And I might be looking to try to take this to like 317. Let's be honest. If it gets to 315, I'm probably going to be out. I'm probably not going to look for a perfect touch. Let's look at S&DK. It's another one of those, man. We're off this daily support and weekly support. These things become really hard to not try and attempt to buy. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But the data tells us that these are running super tight, and there's no reason to believe that there's going to be a sudden capitulation in demand, despite the fear. MU was over 1K. Now it's kind of relaxing a bit. BE looks like it's holding the dip buy really strong. I'm going to add alert here, man. Probably going to add 2 alerts. 277. $283 is probably my entry for Monday. With a first partial right there. What's that put it at? First partial 280. 297. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that actually should be the breakout. Yeah, that would be the breakout right there. If you were going to do like a classic 5-wave pattern within the let's look at AMD. You hate to see this. You hate to see this shit where the like momentum's not getting confirmations. I feel like AMD. I have an AMD short on, right? I don't. I took profits. That might be a hedge I put on early Monday morning. Because if we're gonna dump, this thing's probably gonna wipe out to like 460. Maybe even create a double bottom here and then rally. I'm gonna Was there any of those double bottom supports in previous, like... Makes a new high and comes back. Tests the prior high. Look at that crazy triple bottom on the video. Yeah, I would set this as target, quite honestly, guys. I'm curious, with the parallel... So that would actually put it here. Well, then let's do the... Wow. Fibs are just crazy, man. Look how clean that matches up with major key levels. Yeah, so maybe we do come to the 437 if there is a major puke on the market. I'd be watching that. To create a support right there and then bounce it. There's huge like parallels to basically like this section of NVIDIA here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing starts to form a huge like sideways block. And then maybe like December into January, you get the next phase up. Maybe. The great thing is I don't need to fucking get December projections right now. Because shit's happening so fast. There's probably very low probability I get that right now. Other than just higher. Yeah, look at where this is looking. Let me see if there's any more ticker requests. I only have 8 or 9 more to look at that I want to look at. I don't have any in the Discord. I don't see any more on YouTube. Okay. So let me go through. I'll keep an eye on YouTube. I got it pulled up here. I want to know. I think this is a major low from Costco, man. Look at the lack of confirmation on this drop. I feel like it's a major low. Where's my headline about massive automation from Costco when this thing moons? The thing is this is not very clean for a short-term setup. Quite honestly. There might be here one over basically 970. You know, because you see, I mean, it's very clearly like there's your chop range, and then there's several failed breakouts over it. Right? I mean, it's hard to call highs noise, but clearly none of these were sustainable. There's no buyers up here. 3 times it's tried that. So, really, I would like to try a scalp, maybe even try a scalp up to the bottom of that chop. And then if you break into it, you could play it. If you really wanted to get active there, that's what you would just look for. But look at the RSI structure here, or even the TTM. I mean, this is not a name that flips negative on the monthly, and that's the most negative it's ever gotten on the monthly. Yikes. Actually, put that back up. 900. That might be a 5-wave there. Right? That would be something like this. If this is right, you actually want a double bottom here. So this might not be something I really want to chase until we get over that high. I can play the chop in here like I described earlier. But it might be something that wants to create a double bottom down here. A sideways consolidation after a massive, decade-long move like that is really nice. I mean, that's a perfect 618 retracement for this impulsive move. I mean, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. What's the retracement here from this failed high? I mean, it's trying to hold the 381. $65 minute looks good. And the 4 hour looks good. And the Yeah, so I mean, if you get a 65 rolls into a 4 hour, rolls into a daily confirmation, you could have a really good setup here from the low. This actually looks pretty good. So let's actually put this on watch over last week's high. Especially with the relative strength in ES at the end of last week and even in futures right here. Still no bids on this shit, by the way. Yikes. Tomorrow could be rough. Could be rough. I don't know yet. We don't know. It's got to actually break supports. Otherwise, it is default bullish. We have a request for silver. Let's look at this. And then I see NXC. I'll do that one too. This is so crazy oversold, man. You fully reset the monthly. You know, with Borch's dovish comments, actually, this move would have started back here. I mean, that's pretty much, that's like the last retracement you really want to see for a back-tested move like this. You could say that this was actually the beginning of the true rally here. Was this backtesting a relative high? Yeah, so that's the actual breakout there. That's the actual breakout. So yeah, you held your 2, 3, 6 really well. So I'd be looking for 62, and I actually like this fundamentally. I think I actually like it a lot, quite honestly. Let's look at gold. The 2-day is turning with the daily. And the weekly looks bottoms. Yeah, I want the back test of these EMA convergences and then see how it reacts there. I can't be outright bullish, right? You can't be outright bullish right here. But I would like to see a back test in these convergences on silver and gold. I think that would, and then you get mega bull if you break something like that trend line there. There's actually a cleaner one here, maybe. Not really though. It's kind of there. Because this almost looks like a parallel channel or some sort of wedge formation. But none of it's clean. I'm kind of just drawing lines at that point. I don't think that like maps out well. I don't even think this one maps out well. But this should be with Warsh getting like, you know, dovish and recognizing that most of the economy is in a recession and that GDP is inflated through AI spending, right? You know, it's like AI spending, healthcare, and government jobs are the only 3 sectors not in a recession right now. How can you really justify rate hikes into that? You know, it's more easier to justify rate cuts. So if the market does take a dump here and kind of fakes out, I would be really curious to see if like silver becomes a safe haven. And then I would be really also curious to see if TLT can catch a bid. Because the thing that I thought was really curious is that sell-off that we saw last week, I think was really weird when Warsh was making those dovish comments and that speech he gave. Like this, I feel like it's very strange, but I don't really know what to make of it right now. This is probably the one thing in this market that doesn't quite make sense to me, especially when the short term rates are very dovish. Like I'm pretty sure if we pull up, um, let's go out to December. So this actually only came down 1%. So it looks like it peaks in April, and then it starts to decline into next year. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just think traditional economists are out of their minds. I'm sorry. I think they're all freaking wrong. You know, because the big thing was they were doing this shit during COVID too. Remember, if you guys remember, if you remember back in 2020, they were all saying the same stupid shit that we have to hike rate hikes. We have to, hike. What am I saying? They have to hike rates, and it was like the economies can't handle it. The global economies cannot handle it. You can't purposely cause depressions. And economists just become so focused on the numbers and forget that if you wreck your economy, they're going to overthrow the government. You're all going to die. And them keeping power and keeping control of the population is way more important to them than anything else. You know? It's just the reality of it, man. Let's look at NXE. If it wasn't clear, I think I'm a bull here on silver. It's another one of those things where you got 6 points of downside, man. So I'd like to try a dip buy here. And if we actually break back below that prior low, I'll call the thesis dead. But I think you got a really easy trade, probably up into the low 60s. To try a scalp. NXE. What is this? It's an energy name like BE. It's uranium. Let me just quickly look at CCJ and URA. Also in a downtrend. So this is high beta. Okay. I haven't been watching this space this much lately. I just wanted a quick overview. I don't know, man. I keep saying there's a chance that they take a dump, but a lot of these names are just so oversold here. Even if you're gonna dump, I'd expect a bounce first. This might want to do something like this. Like it might want to bounce up and then continue its move down here to this bullshit EMA. But it could also turn out to be something similar to this structure, right? Comes up and sets a double top. This monthly is very concerning to me, though. As you can see in the past, when this monthly starts to turn, or even here when this monthly started to turn, I mean, holy shit, actually, this thing really likes that pattern. You got that pattern right here, too, upon the monthly turning, and now you're seeing the same thing for him right here. So yeah, maybe this thing literally does that shit again. This is actually like the stock's favorite thing to do. What the hell? It's like its favorite thing. I don't think I've seen that before. Is CCJ like that? It kind of is, but it's nowhere near as stark as a parrot. It kind of is. I mean, this literally looks like a picture perfect copies of one another. Because I do want to say, in the short term, you've got a daily turning that looks strong. So this is kind of like the Costco play we just looked at, right? What you want to see is your 65 flip, then the 4-hour confirmation, then the daily confirmation. And that's how you can set up the play and you look at those confirmations as like, oh, okay, I should continue to hold this. And you probably look at just for something like this trend line to be tested. You break through that, look for the double top, and then at that point you just got to be really nervous about this monthly pattern. Be aware that like even when it makes these double tops, it does flip the monthly. Both times it did that. Flipped it, then puked it. Flipped it, then puked it. So, I'd be nervous about that one. But I think it looks bullish right here in the short term as an investment idea. If you look at 10 years out, I think uranium in general is really bullish. It just hasn't been something I've been touching much this year. Especially things like CEG. Like this might be actually even the better dip buy. I mean, this name is so beaten down. But they still have major deals. There's a bunch of deregulation in their space. Let's try this the other way. Because I wonder if this is the C36. It isn't quite yet. Something that's interesting here is this stop confirming lows on the momentum, which means it's probably really close to bottoming if it hasn't done it already. Maybe it's got one more move to the downside, especially with the daily like failing this back test so heavily. This might be close to setting a very major bottom. So let's set the alert actually. That's your support. I'll set the alert there. This thing's a bit of a turd, man. To be transparent with you guys, this is my biggest loser on the year. We tried to look for this breakout and it failed. Took a bunch of money from me. To be fair, it's the only big loser on the year, though. So that's nice. Alright, guys, it's getting kind of late. And I'm getting kind of sleepy, so... I think I'm going to call it here. We got 9 or 10 good ideas coming in next week, and I already have a lot of open positions. Trying to think that there's anything else I want to look at. This is actually interesting from Celsius Energy. Massive key level here. You know, I just bought some Celsius actually. I have one right here. There's a huge sale at Costco. These are by far the cheapest energy drinks you can buy in bulk at Costco. Very recently, they dropped the prices, and I bought a lot. I'm not gonna lie, because but I'm weird. I don't think these taste anywhere as good as other ones. But if I'm buying something like an energy drink, I don't really care how it tastes. I just want cheap caffeine because I'm an animal. This looks really good, honestly. I'm gonna actually post this one on the Discord. Give me a second. I just remembered I was supposed to look at shop. We have longs here. I have long swing calls here. This still looks so good, man. It really does. And you know what pissed me off? I don't really get mad when I miss moves, but I got mad when I missed this move because I've been trying to play Etsy for I don't even know how long. And when it failed this breakout, it took a bunch of money from me. And I had this alert set. Actually, I had this alert set back here at 64 to get long. And it took so long to do it that the alert actually expired in TradingView, which I didn't even know they did that. It was a new feature because they didn't used to have this like expiration default to only 1 month. And now you had to go through and you had to set it to open-ended. And so when they did that update, it pissed me off because I didn't realize that a bunch of my alerts had like expired. So I missed that one and I was very salty about it. Not going to lie. What was the other one I was going to look at though? Shops looks good. Let me check open positions here. Lemonade. I'm like, come on, is there anyone alive that can look at this and not be bullish? There's enough shot. Looks so good. I mean, insurance in general looks so good. Because that's where AI is getting implemented, like probably at the highest degree. Why hasn't this been updated? It's still in here as MindMed. I just now noticed that. That's funny. Back in the day, I bought so much of the pink sheets for MindMed that they sent me a T-shirt, and then I became a fat dad, and it no longer fits me. Because that T-shirt is really cool now that they've like changed their ticker 3 times since. Well, cool to me. Cool as a finance nerd. It don't even fit me. I don't even know if I still have it. I probably have it. It's probably in storage. This is a really interesting recovery from 4. I kind of want to know what the weekly looks like here. So this thing looks like it's actually gonna break out. Maybe you get an impulsive move to 59. Oh, you're actually coming off of a huge low. Now wait a second. This actually looks really good. It's 51.72. I think I like that one a lot. Damn it. Lots of viewers tonight, by the way. Hello, friends. This looks like a great short. I might set alert here under the lows. I doubt it breaks this week, but it might. That might be one that kind of traps and then catches me off guard. My gosh, look at the squeeze indicator on this thing. I'm not really going to get the fundamentals on this one because Monty's the energy analyst on our team and he'd be able to do it 10 times better than me. But I do know that this company has really good fundamentals right now. So I'll set the alert on there just to keep it on the radar. Looks like Home Depot wants a decent rebound. I just bought some new toilets at Home Depot, but I haven't installed them yet because my wife wants... What are those things called the Japanese have? They spray your brown eye. I don't remember, but she wants one of those installed in it. It's not a Bidget, is it? What am I keep thinking? A bidet? Bidet. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, Nancy Pelosi set up long calls in this, and I think this thing looks like trash. I don't know. This was a really hard short, even though it rolled over. I don't know. I just feel like there's easier things to short if I was going to look for shorts, man. Same with Dell. Look how long Dell's not giving a signal. God, what a trash stock. There's just nothing there. It's interesting. You know, we were talking about this target breakout like 2 weeks ago. And it's doing it. I never played it, honestly. I just thought there were better things to play. But off this back test, not going to lie, it looks really interesting. The only thing is that weekly's not really holding it well. If it fails the back test, I mean, I'd even set alert here for 120. You fail the back test, and you might form a double bottom and then get the real move. Now, when did this break out? If Tempest can reclaim 61, I like it. What was I thinking when I drew this? Something like that. Is this cleaner on the daily? Because the weekly's a mess. Fake out, breakout, back test. So that's the real trend line. Daily looks strong, but not overbought. 2 days just getting started, really. And weekly is giving confirmation. Yeah, I like this over the 61. Is there a signal here? There's no signal on the monthly. It's not been around long enough. I'm going to post this one on the Discord. That's a nice dual play. Healthcare and AI. Healthcare, two strongest sectors right now. I'm sorry, man. There's probably a short play there if it breaks that major support, but it's just not for me. Dude, there's a lot of weeklies, actually. If you're not looking at AI, there's a lot of weekly charts that look like bottomed out here. I apologize for this mess. We almost completed the ABC I was looking for. We came so close. Is it time for the dead cat bounce on TTD? I'm going to tag Abe in this. This is like Abe's favorite thing. I mean, look at the relative low there. He'd be salivating out this one. Thing is, it blew through a bunch of FIP targets of mine. But if it reclaims, basically if it reclaims 20, I think this gets really interesting, actually. Unity actually looks okay. I don't know. You gotta get over that high. The thing with a play like this, man, is that does that look better than this? Not really. Not, no, not really. This looks so much more appealing, especially with the RSI structure and where it's at, and it's oversold. And Unity just looks more like either way. Like Roblox might not go all the way back to the highs. I mean, if we're just looking at technicals, might not do it. But we should get this nice move to like 80 or something, just as a back test, right? Unity, on the other hand, it just looks like it's in a massive chop range of nonsense. Uber was another one where the politicians are buying this one up, but I'm not really sure why. We do have a small long position here. It still looks really great. You still have like amazing influence here, so let's see if we get the pop this week, man. Upstart actually looks somewhat interesting here, I guess. The weekly's actually breaking out. You know, these financial names breaking up, by the way, is not bearish at all for the economy. I mean, if you can get over that previous high at 36.38, there might be a nice swing idea. I especially love this type of pattern, you know, and these real rounded bottoms. We already looked at URA. I don't want to touch any Urban Outfitters. If you wanted to play this one as a short, what you would need to dig into is how that Anthropology, because they own Anthropology. I did a bunch of research on this one, actually, because I was trying to figure out why this stock isn't trading at like $30. And it's because that premium women's clothing line, Anthropology, makes them almost all of their money. Pretty much every other segment of their business, like, it's hilarious that it's called Urban Outfitters, because that's actually the worst performer. Like, Urban Outfitters is doing horrible, probably going to go out of business. But Anthropology literally carries this company on its back. I mean, just even looking at this, though, it looks like an appealing short. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. What you would do? What you would do, guys, is you'd go to Claude Fable, and you say, "Hey, I want you to scan through TikTok comments and tell me if people still like Anthropology." Are you using RSI? I have it on here. I have TTM squeeze, RSI, and this is relative volume. Relative volume only matters when we're day trading and scalping. So I'm not paying attention to this right now. But I'll use RSI. Just looking for divergences on RSI, though. That's the only thing relevant to me. Mm-hmm. Walmart's pretty oversold here. RSI what value? Like what? I'm not really fully understanding what you're asking there. I use RSI in the way of like... Here, I'll pull up Oklo as an example. Like, I use RSI for divergences like this. Like, you see this stock hits a high, retraces, and hits a new high. And then if we look at RSI here, oh, what day? You're looking at the time frame. Yes, it's 14. I see what you mean. But I'm only, and then I believe on the RVol I do 10 or 21. It depends on what I'm looking for, or what kind of setup I'm trying to look at. I thought you were wondering like how I use it. you might not care about this. I'll explain it anyways for the viewers. These are the only things I care about with RSI. We see RSI hit a peak here as the stock gets a major breakout. Then we see as we hit new highs, so we have no confirmation from the RSI. This is when I start looking for shorts. Specifically, this was a short that we hit way back. Massive exhaustion candle that follows a puke, and we rode this one all the way down to like 70 or so. Ended up puking much lower than that. But that's what I'm looking at for RSI. I want to see momentum stop giving confirmations of new highs, and I want to look for some sort of reset. It doesn't have to lead to a full reset like this. That's the type of stuff that I look for. On shorter time frames, I actually look for the opposite, though. So if this was a 15-minute chart, if we were more zoomed in, I think there's a good example of this on Hood. So if I was using RSI on, I think I just taught a class on this not too long ago. This really isn't the best example because you have good confirmations of the lows here. Let's see if we can find a recent one. Oh, you know what? You know what had it earlier this morning? Is Take Two. So this is a play I actually missed, but it's a good example of you see these tests back on this solid trend line, right? And you see the RSI setting a new low without the stock hitting a new low, right? So this is kind of the opposite of what you would say on the longer time frames, where a divergence actually could become a huge opportunity for inverse. Basically, when you create that divergence on a shorter time frame, typically what you're going to see is that it just generates more energy for a stock to get a continuation higher. So because it's like you got to think of it like a rubber band effect, where things will get stretched and then the whiplash out through those. So like this I think is actually a really like this is a very classic like buy off the open and then pre-market is your stop type of day trade. What other indicators are you using? I mean, if we're talking about day trading, what I'm gonna be running is I'm gonna be running relative volume at time. I'm going to be using Ripster EMAs, and then I'll be using momentum squeeze indicator on shorter time frames, but the only thing I'm looking for here with the TTM, this is the TTM, by the way. I'll leave this open. I'm using the TTM. So like for short-term day trades, what I'm looking for is for the 15 and the 65 to align. So you see this flip on the 65 minute here. Like below this green line is bearish, above is bullish, right? Well, what I care about TTM is the flips, okay? Now, if you watch a YouTube video on this, everyone's going to say to use it completely different. They're all fucking wrong. And that's why they don't make money with it. What you want is these flips to align. So I see the 15-minute align right there with that 65-minute. You know, if you buy a move like that, you get this nice fall through in price. That's what I'm watching for the 15-minute. Then there's other things that I might use under certain scenarios. So, you know, let's say I take that trade and I'm on the 1 minute here. All right. Well, then I might throw up something like the SATI ATR, and this will tell me what the average true range of the stock is. I believe I have SATI set up for 14-day. Yeah. 14-day on SATI. And what I want to know is like how much does the stock typically move? And then if we get a full breakout, that's when I'm like, okay. If we get a full breakout through all the SATI ATR levels, that's where I might roll with time and say, okay, this thing's now moving well outside the norm. So let's look for extension and look for a real trend to develop here. Something that happened that's the whole reason why we've been writing Hood so hard. because Hood did that like a while ago. It did it actually in that box area, and then it became a nice continuation. This ended up becoming a huge dip buy off this support, and we ended up closing most of that. We actually closed well before this 120 test, though. I'll tell you that right now. I was like 90% out of the name at like 115 at the double, like near the double top test. I was only like 50% out. So great move, though. What smoothing line value are you using on RSI 14? Just whatever the default is. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what you mean by smoothing line. Oh, that's an SMA. That's just the default SMA. But I don't really trade off the RSI SMA cross. This is only here for that divergent scenarios I was explaining. Yeah. Anyways, guys, we ran through about 30 charts or so. And even answered some questions. I think I gave away some really great alpha there, though. That 1565 minute, you know, if you can ingrain that in your brain, you can make a lot of money with that. So, and I'm probably the only freaking guy that uses that. But if you don't believe me, go back test it and then be shocked. Be amazed at the returns. All right. Anyways, and it's so simple too, right? It's so freaking simple, man. But simplicity is the true expression of mastery. And on that note, I'm going to peace out. Y'all have a good one, all right? God bless.